Yo, what's good guys, I'm Fire here back from the video answer, and we're hopping into another College Football 26 offensive ebook. Today we're going to be running UCLA's offensive ebook. Now, as is the drill with the Bowling Green and the Oregon State one, we do have a written version available for purchase. That link will be pinned in the comment section and the first link in the description. Make sure you guys go check that out. Those who have purchased have definitely dropped some amazing reviews on it. Basically, it is the written setup of everything that we're going to show in this video in the exact order that I talk about them, so it is super beneficial to just have that open next to you while you watch the video so that you can follow along, learn the setups. It's super easy to go back and reference if you want. How do I run this play? What's a good setup for this play? Super beneficial. It shows every hot route, every coverage that every setup of every play beats. So once again, link will be on my website, which is in the description and pinned in the comment section. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel down below. About 70% of you guys that watch my videos actually are not subscribed, so let's get that number to around 50% or 40%. I'm posting these long ebooks that take me a lot of time for free for you guys. Most people wouldn't even post them on YouTube. They would just make you pay for the whole thing. So let's jump into it though. What makes UCLA good? Why is my favorite streamer using UCLA? Why is my favorite YouTuber using UCLA? What is good about this? And it is the gun bunch. It all starts with bunch. Now, what's good about this bunch is just just a lot of different plays that you cannot find in any other playbooks. And we're going to start out with kind of our key play, clear out, SE out on the right-hand side there. One of the most dangerous plays in the game for a very good reason. Good man beaters, good zone beaters. We like deep attack on the left. I like bunch verts, very solid stock bunch play. We have a mesh spot setup, and then we have even a FL pivot setup. Deep flood is going to be another one of our go-to plays where we have about 4 or 5 setups. And then for run plays, you have sweep, you have inside zone, a few decent plays, but nothing too amazing. We're mainly passing the ball out of this, and we will be starting out in bunch. The audibles I like are clear out, SE out, sweep, deep attack, vert. If I don't want a run play, I would throw in deep flood instead of sweep. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We're going to start out with clear out, SE out. Now again, UCLA, offensive playbook. And you guys know we'll be kind of switching between these coverages as often as possible. And yeah, let's jump straight into it. So the first setup, and all these setups are going to be with my bunch on the right-hand side. So we kind of spot the ball a little bit more towards the left, give us a little bit more space for our gun bunch to operate. The first setup that we're going to run is a pretty popular setup. We're just going to drag X, put RB on a corner out, and then we're going to custom stem him. Now, if you guys don't know how to custom stem, you're going to press Y to hot route normally. That R1 receiver, which is who we want, and then you can see the L1 or LB is the custom stem. You're going to hold that and then move your left stick all the way down. Now there's a bug in practice mode where it doesn't like show up, but basically you're going to move him down to about this point, which is again the lowest that he will go. And let's go ahead and snap the ball, and you should see this guy get wide open down the field. Now this one is probably the best way to open that fade route up, is doing that little shorter corner out. If you do it any deeper, it doesn't work as well as it might have in years past. And this is kind of what custom stemming looks like. It actually is showing up. So you can move these routes all the way deep down the field, or you can move them as short as like 2 yards, which is actually better in this case. So this is also a pretty quick setup because you're only doing really 2 hot routes. So you can actually come out here, make the few hot routes, and snap the ball because that running back is kind of on a stock block. And then this corner out is also kind of open. Works really well against cover 2, I believe, as well. But against cover 3, sorry about that. But against cover 3, he kind of actually gets open too. Like right there. You could still hit him. And then we could also hit the fade. So just a very dangerous setup. As well as, let's run it against the Tampa 2 look. And then we still have like the drag in case for whatever reason it's defended. And then that is the look against cover 2. Those cloud flats, they play pretty well, but against this corner route in particular, they don't defend it well at all. So definitely something to take note of. Let's say they run a press man-to-man coverage, which we kind of love because this guy should get pretty open against that. Let's say it's like something like this, and take a look at that release. Now, I know we're not using the greatest defense ever, and we get some help with the bump there, but that fade route is going to get open against press man-to-man coverage, and we have some setups where we will leave that fade on the left side, and he will also get open against that. So overall, just a very solid play. Let's try and hit some of these other routes that we have, like the drag or the post route potentially. This guy kind of can get open in that slot. It's a little bit tight, but it just depends on the coverage and who he's using, of course. But let's run setup number 2. Now, what I like out of setup number 2 is to kind of set up something that's similar. We're going to run actually basically the exact same setup with one stipulation, and that's going to be we're going to sacrifice our pass protection. So we're going to still corner out R1, but then what we're going to do is actually motion this running back out. You just click onto him, and then motion him out with that D-pad to the left-hand side, and then all we're going to do is actually drag him. So a little 5-wide setup. This is an underrated part of bunch, creating a 5-wide look, and this just moves our drag. Basically, it just gives us the option to where that tight end should actually end up getting open on the sideline because we have the clear out. And then it also gives us another man beater. If he's running press man-to-man coverage over there on the left, then that fade route can also get open. So again, here's a look. Obviously, the cover 3 beater is still going to work over there on that right-hand side. So now certain times, again, you see the outside third. If there's any weird bumping going on, it's possible that it doesn't get open every time. Like I was kind of waiting for it, but I probably should have just hit the corner out. But it's possible that it doesn't like work every time for whatever reason. Some things in this game are a little bit inconsistent, but overall it's still kind of a good quick snap setup. Let's run it against like a cover 2. Boom, tight end in the middle of the field. Could also have hit the drag route. And then the corner out would have been getting open late as well if he's running pressed man-to-man coverage. I want you to look at X or B. Really, both of them should get open. R1 should kill his man coverage on this route. You may have to freeform it. And then also motioning this player out is going to tell if it's man coverage for whatever reason. If he's actually doing a good job of bluffing it, maybe this is cover 3. You motion him out, that's going to be a good tell that it is that. And I think you saw X just fry him off the line. Again, ratings could play a factor in this, but overall, I mean, you guys can see very solid. So setup number 3, we're going to go ahead, drag R1 or RB, and then angle Y. So just kind of a good underneath setup. You want to mix it up a bit. You want to mix up your passes inside the numbers with your passes outside. If we're throwing 20 corner routes, he's going to adjust. So you want to create a healthy mix of these different routes. Now we get an inaccurate pass with the drag. Does a good job of obviously getting open. You may want to throw it earlier, you may want to throw it later. We have the tight end on his kind of deeper post here, so he could get open, but again, there's a little bit more traffic over the middle in this play, so he could get bumped around, or the user could just end up taking him. Probably what you could see is maybe the user try to go from drag to post, or something like that. But let's say we do get more time, then we can hit him over the top like this. Another bad pass by me, but a lot of space. It does take a little bit to develop, so if you notice what I did in the pocket there is I actually stepped up in the pocket, which is going to allow you to kind of climb the ladder and make those passes a little easier. I see a lot of people when they first start playing this game, and this is no shade if this is what you do, but they will kind of snap the ball and they'll do this. Like, take a look at what they'll kind of run back like this because they're afraid of getting sacked. Now, can that work? It still can, but it's not the best way to do it because you're making some of these throws a little bit tougher than they have to be. What you want to do is you want to kind of snap it and like kind of climb the pocket here. Now you still can get hit, but it kind of, if you do end up getting sacked, you're losing 3 or 4 yards instead of 10 to 12, and it makes a difference. So let's face man-to-man coverage against this look. And again, if they're running man-to-man, we still have X, we still have B. Either of them could get open. Here I see R1 open. We create a nice little pick play, really. Him and the post were open, and again, they're probably only going to be able to use R1. So if you have 3 routes that are open, you just got to make the read. And basically what we want to try to create is making these reads as easy as possible for you guys. And bunch is probably the best offense to do so, right? Setup number 4, what we're going to do is deep cross R1 or RB. For whatever reason, I say R1 a lot, even though I'm on Xbox. Just something I do, but we're going to deep cross RB, drag A, and then I kind of like curling B. A popular thing to do is kind of custom stem the curls up a little bit if you want as well. Like you can custom stem them up twice. Sometimes they kind of sit in a nice little area of the zone, but be careful because sometimes those routes won't travel. Really, this is kind of a better concept if he's using one of those hook curls because then obviously he's going to sprint over with the drag or the angle or the crosser. So against like stock zone coverage, it's not great, but Sometimes against someone that's usering that kind of forgets about it, maybe just thinks it's like the streak because you've ran that play all game or whatever the case may be, then sometimes it can sit open. But really what we want to hit out of this play is this crosser. This is basically our dagger. If you're familiar with the bunt strong offset or bunt strong ace offset, this is our dagger play, where we have the nice fade on the left side that you see out of dagger, and then we can just kind of create some routes behind it. We have the running back blocked. Of course, we can still check this down. Holy crap, I'm not passing the ball great right now. But of course, you can check it down, and it works well. Setup number 5, we're going to corner RB, zig A, put X on a post. So a little bit of a traditional setup, but I like this setup a lot. I think it opens things up against cover 3, cover 2. If I really wanted to open things up, I could also motion B out. But we'll leave him for now. And again, we have our little cover 3 kind of beater on the right that will get open. Sometimes, again, it helps to have like good throw power. And obviously with this corner route where it's deeper, it's a little bit less effective. But technically you still could hit this pass. And I didn't even highball that. That was just straight pass lead. And I didn't really even freeform it either. So of course it can still get open with the regular corner route, just may not be as effective. I like this setup against man, corner out, zig, those stock fades if they're pressing. Good. You see R1 that was open. Of course, don't forget about this route. He's going to have a lot of space over there to pick up 8, 9, potentially a first down just on that zig. So we love that. And let's run it against man-to-man coverage because sometimes this post can get open. Now, if you're running against like a stock cover 3 or cover 2 and you have nothing on the left side, the post is probably not going to just get open. But if you're facing like a man-to-man look, then that was pass interference. Is this what we're doing now? He's fried. I throw it here. What is this suction? And then he gets hit with the balls in the air. All right. That's crazy. But as far as man coverage on the other side of the field goes, hopefully we get some more traditional stuff. You see the zig is wide open. The corner out is open. Really, the fade is open too. So everything's open. Let's hop into our final setup. And what we have here is going to be a flat Y, and we're just going to put R1 on a return. Return routes, very good this year. I love them. And this is just a good spacing concept. Post, flat, return. You still have those 2 fades. So with these returns, what I do is, because you can always tell right off the bat if you know they're going to get open, I love just stepping up in the pocket, hitting that return right when it breaks. And again, it's down on the D-pad to throw that hot route. Boom. Can easily check it down. Use those stiff arms. We know how good those stiff arms are. If you know, then you know. But just a super easy setup. You'll see more stuff kind of like this. If you get the time, of course, we can hit this post over the top. But because we send 5 out, it takes a little bit more time, maybe a little bit more pocket awareness. I don't usually scramble all that often in my bunch offense. It's not Madden 20 anymore where we're kind of rolling out and hitting those corner outs every time. So you kind of change the way you run bunch now because it's more of just a pocket passing offense. Trips, it would be kind of more of your rollout style offense, but bunch I find to be a little bit more pocket passing nowadays. But let's hop into our second play, which is going to be deep attack. It was on the left side, as you see here. For some reason, I forgot I changed my camera back. I was like, oh crap, hopefully my camera wasn't just blocking everything I just recorded, but thankfully we moved it back. First setup out of deep attack is going to be dragging RB, speed out B, and returning A. A little bit of an interesting looking setup, but believe me, this does work. On paper, it looks questionable. I'll give you that. Now, one of the best routes in the game is any kind of a drag going underneath a backside post. They just tend to get a little bit more open. So this is a good man beater. This is really a good red zone setup as well. Now this return doesn't work as effectively, definitely, without any routes like kind of running vertically. We had that post with the tight end when we ran the last return, so it's a little bit less effective, but this is still a very good man setup. It's obviously not going to be as great against your standard cover 2. As far as the backside post goes, you can kind of hit it here, but I threw that a little bit late and the safety can undercut it, so you want to be very careful to avoid that. I don't even know if I can fit it in. We'll try it again here. but you would kind of have to throw it here. That's where you want to, so it is open, but just don't wait like I did on that first time. You want to throw it on time. Cover 2 for this setup. Post probably less open. We still get this drag open, and again, you see the post, why it's so good to open up those drags. It brings those zones inside just a bit. So that's why we love that. And then let's say we face man-to-man coverage. We're expecting really B should be open, drag should be open. Post probably a little less likely to be open, but this return actually gets bagged. B was open though. And we throw a pick. But speed out was open, return kind of got fried, I'm not gonna lie. Usually those routes are very good against man. I guess this kind of man coverage killed us. Maybe we'll set up like a 2-man under. I don't know if the 3-rack hook had anything to do with it. No one's really running cover 1. But so this route gets open. Looks like the tight end was a bit better there. And then maybe you want to throw the running back on like a wheel or something, because what you're kind of seeing in the middle of the field is the player that's manned up on the running back is kind of sitting right in that spot where our return is going, which is why, and our drag, which is why they're not as open as they would look. So let's say we just throw our running back on a wheel just to like get him, out of the way. And then we face our press man-man coverage. It should look a little bit better and cleaner aesthetically. Now our drag still gets defended pretty well, but now he's actually an option to throw it to. Probably our wheel was open. I wasn't paying attention, but solid man-beating setup. Setup number 2 is going to be R1 on a corner. We're going to speed out B. We're going to put A on a return again and flat Y. So it looks like this. Again, just kind of a solid base setup. Now you see our return significantly more open. All it takes is any kind of a route to stretch those zones up vertically, and they get a lot more open. So I love the flat post combo on that left-hand side. And then over here on the right is just kind of a basic concept. Not going to be good against cover 3 for sure, but I love this play really to set up the tight end. I'm sure I have the flat early, and then I'm sure the post does actually end up getting open. But again, you're going to have to kind of time it right there. Boom. I would always possession catch it because you're going to get killed if they have a hard hitter over there. Let's say we face a Tampa 2. Now, again, if I wanted to, I didn't put this in the ebook. You could custom stem R1, and this could help to open him up potentially. Maybe I should put it in there, but it's optional. Because against man, maybe you want him a little bit deeper for spacing purposes. But again, all of these are dealer's choice. You guys can take the setups and feel free to, of course, alter them in any way. You can buy the ebook and make a copy, and A is wide open, R1 is pretty open there. Maybe you would want to custom stem him down 1. We'll try that again. But the speed out is a good kind of clear out route. Let's custom stem him down 1. And then let's still return in flat. And this should be good. So B, I'm just going to hit him. He's wide open. So now maybe that, you notice how it's a little bit different. You custom stem him down once, and then the corner out is actually a little bit less open, and now the out route is wide open. So it's kind of differing things in that standpoint. But setup number 4, we're going to Texas Y. We're going to drag A and corner RB, speed out B. So a little bit of a similar setup. 1 second. I'm just updating something in the ebook that I typed wrong. I have such a habit from previous years of always typing the running back Texas route as an angle route, but technically it is listed as a Texas route now, which means what I'm used to is a little bit incorrect, but that's fine. First read, always usually just this tight end here. If you can immediately see him follow the out route on the right or the corner route, that tight end route's always going to be open. So boom, we'll take that. Let's say it's defended, then you have your little angle route here. You notice how the hook curl on there starts chasing the corner out. He opens him up, very solid. And then against cover 2, drag is open, and you see this post route gets open because we have the drag that's actually going to pull down the vert hook, open him up. If it's man-to-man coverage, we should have a few different things open here. Again, I could custom stem R1 down if he's going to get bumped, which he kind of does. So if you're facing man, you probably always want to custom stem him. The angle routes are not as good against man coverage, but them having that 3-rack hook does not help. I'll probably set up, my left trigger is freaking broken on this extra controller, but I would probably always be audibling to 2-man under because no one's really running all that much cover 1, but angle route's good if you can open it up. And it's just a solid, decent setup. You guys know that these types of things would work. Sorry, my voice gets very dry when I do these because I'm talking so much. But deep attack setup number 4, and I'll try to get a little bit of a better pace going, but we have more setups in bunch than any other formation. But let's drag our tight end here, streak RB, and then I like to just slant B. Very traditional bunch setup. And then I actually like motion snapping this guy, and the spacing on it is usually successful. Boom, look at how open he gets out of this play. It's unlike any kind of clear out routes you see because you have that streak deep, and then you have like the drag just pulling everything down. So this is the best way to open him up that I have ever seen for the post route, and he will probably fall asleep because of the motion. So if you've ran clear out, SE out, and bunch verts like 5 times in a row, and then you mix this in, it is probably likely to open up X at a pretty high clip. Now, no, you go back. But against cover 2, this is where this route is money. I like almost throwing it on the break. And what I mean by that is like right when he starts his cut to actually run the slant, he's going to run a little bit up vertically. Like he runs vertically and then he cuts. Boom, hit him here. I'm okay falling down. I'll take my 6-7 yards to avoid getting a big hit from that one of those players if I can't get any kind of a juke move off. Could I leave him on the in route as well? You definitely could. This is up to you guys, but you see how it's a slower break and it really doesn't get as open as the slant. If it is man coverage, it's also not going to get as open against that. But this wouldn't be my first choice to run against man coverage. You saw clear out, SE out. That's going to be probably your better play in bunch verts. But he would be coming across open. Again, when we audible to man, we have the stupid... this is what I'm talking about. The zone that's playing very well is the 3 receiver hook. But let's hop into bunch verts. Now, bunch verts is probably, again, your second best play, if not your best play. Just a very simple bread and butter play. It's just so difficult to stop. One thing I want to mention is if you are playing online and you're the away team, the best thing to do against like a max stadium pulse, if it's 3rd and 10 and you're in, Athens, Georgia, is just probably run this play stock. This is your best bet as a stock play. Clear out, SE out isn't bad as a stock play, but if you're like trying to audible and your players can't hear, I would just come out here and run this because this is your best bet. So really, a lot of the times, Y or RB are going to be your go-to guys, triangle or R1, because they're just always going to be open. He's going to really have to use R1. Boom, hit him over the top. And it's just so simple. It's going to work against really every single defense in the game. That route should get open against man-to-man coverage. It should get open against cover 2, and it's just going to be so difficult for your opponent to stop. Here is the running back route against cover 2, and you can see just so much space. He's going to have to user that because that route gets open against man-to-man coverage as well, and he's going to start to get pissed off at you throwing at your running back 20 times, but if you can't stop it, you have no reason to change what you're doing. Here's that over route against cover 2. Now it gets batted down, but it would be open. You kind of want to throw it probably a little bit more on the sidelines. You can also kind of pass lead it down a little bit if you're worried about that outside half kind of playing it, which shouldn't be too big of a concern, but really just throw it there too, and it's just easy money. And because how much deeper it is than the underneath route, he has to user one of them. So really good. Let's say they run just basic man-to-man coverage. X could get open on this fade, but R1 or Y still going to be our guys. And you see A gets a lot of separation there, but they do have a safety. So again, very simple, and we'll try and maximize this. Next setup is going to be drag A. Just very simple. Gives us kind of just another little underneath option. We really have 3 options now, although the running back may not be as open because we don't have that vertical threat from the tight end slot position. But really, it doesn't matter. I'm perfectly okay giving that up. Now, RB got pass interfered with. I don't understand why that's still in the game. It is the dumbest thing ever. But it happens, right? Sometimes you'll see your running back get bumped like that. It can happen as long as he doesn't get stuck in the backfield. I'm okay with it because he's going to be open. Even there, he ran it at like a depth of almost 5 yards, and it was fine. But let's run cover 2. Tight end wide open. RB is going to be open here. Now, how the hell did he catch that? I have no idea. The only problem with running it against cover 2 sometimes is pretty much what just happened. And I actually screwed this up because I snapped the ball before he was in position. Otherwise, he would have been a lot deeper. So that was actually my fault. I didn't realize that I did that, but traditionally against cover 2, you'll see that idiot get bumped. But even then, you still should have enough space to do it. I'm talking about the cloud flat. If he bumps him, it's going to open up your drag because he's moving him inside, and then he's going to go even further back. So should be good to go. Next setup, kind of a similar thing we did earlier. Motion this guy out. We're just going to put him on a drag. So just a little, if pretty much this opens up RB a lot earlier. But this is kind of what you do if you're running back. For whatever reason, what defense he's doing, it depends. But sometimes your running back does get like stuck on the D-line and hit by those guys. And if that happens, just motion him out because it shouldn't matter. Another route that I haven't thrown yet once is this tight end, and he does get open against cover 3. So it helps having this drag because he kind of gets out there a little bit earlier. I think it opens up just a little bit more. So that is an option. It's really not open against cover 2, but against cover 3, it is solid. And boom, hit him over the top. So you really want to hit RB in that over route in that window. If you don't hit him in that window, then what you want to do is kind of wait for him to go on the sidelines. If you're facing cover 2, if you're facing man-to-man coverage here, same thing, Y or RB, but B kind of can get open here, but X, or B wasn't open, but X on the left, just on that kind of fade route, was open, so just another option. Another thing we can do against man that I like, and could it work against zone? Technically it could, but going to drag him, and then we're going to put B on a corner out, and we're going to custom stem it down to about this. So on paper, it looks very weird, but here it is against cover 3, and you see how open the tight end gets. It's more open than he's been on any other setup. So sometimes these setups look very odd on paper, but trust me, they are effective. I would not put them in the ebook and spend the time doing it if they were not. So we still have, he's wide open, we still have Y wide open, and we have A. So now we have 3 guys open, and if we run that setup against a man-to-man coverage look, now it gives us an outside threat, which we didn't previously have out of this play at all. So custom stem him, go all the way down, my friend. There we go. So if it's man-to-man coverage, then he gets open. I do highball that. I do try and pass lead, because if you throw bullet pass it, it's going to get undercut. But you guys saw that he was open and it was working. Setup number 5, zig A, flat Y. Very basic setup. It's not my personal favorite, but it does just work. And it's more of a zone beater. A is going to get open here. And what it does is it's kind of just guaranteeing. Again, it takes really every read decision out of this play. Previously, because the running back kind of runs in that area where the over route is, they're almost in the same area for 1 second. Sometimes you can get lurked if you're not careful, if you throw the ball too early, but this takes every decision out of it because you know he's going to have to use one of those players. Really, Y should be open on snap. A is open there, and if he waits, or let's say he jumps on the zig or jumps on the running back route, then we get him open late. If he jumps on the running back, throw it to the tight end. Don't even bother waiting because he could try and go up and lurk you. But love these types of setups because they're just so easy, and it just makes the game easy when you don't have to think about it all that often like this. And even here, I'm okay throwing this. Get off me. I'll take my 15. Like, just because someone is on your hip, don't be afraid to throw that. You can always pass lead and get it a little bit more open. Now, if it's man-to-man coverage, I don't love this setup as much because we have zig and we have over route. So I would try to run this more against zone, but obviously you still have these guys that are going to be getting open. And it's still going to work. Next setup is going to be A on a return, Y on a flat. Similar thing, we just have A on a return, so a little bit more breaking in. Now, again, make your reads. Hopefully he's going to jump on that tight end in this setup. It gets more open against different coverages. Probably a little bit better here against cover 2 in man coverage than it was against cover 3. And if you have to, you can always wait on him. You do risk taking a hit. Be careful with doing that. But solid setup there. Let's run it against man coverage. And again, X over there is getting pretty open there. Now they defended it well, but we still get RB deep here. So could I put Y on an angle route? You could. I don't have it. But again, this is what I mean by altering the play. If you guys want to add something, feel free. Next setup is just kind of a good zone beater, little streak Y. I kind of like this play in the red zone because this running back route is usually slept on a little bit. He kind of looks like he's running a flat at first, so they kind of sleep. But if you can just hit him in this window, it's a touchdown. So, as far as the tight end goes, he could get open here, but without like any underneath route, and that's why the drag in the corner route just opened him up so much better. It's not as good. That play used to always be open against cover 3. Maybe motioning him out helps. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, motioning him out does help a little bit, but even then he still does it. So obviously you would hope that he would be using 22, and then that route would be open. Against cover 2, I wouldn't ever run this against man, by the way, so we're not even going to include that, but not the greatest against cover 2. If he's using, you should have one of those players open. You got to hope that he runs away from his assignment, which a lot of people do because a lot of people are dumb in the way that they play defense. Last setup, streak A, flat Y, B, return. Interesting looking setup, but on paper, this is a killer play. He is a lot more open than the tight end was. You love to see it. Very good against man, RB or B. And it just makes, again, a read very easy with this particular play. It's going to be very obvious as to who you want to throw the ball to. Feel free to dump it down to him anytime and take your 8 yards, but just overall, it's making the game easier, and that's what you want to do in an offense, and Bunch is the best in the game at doing that. Boom. Again, if you get enough time, you always want to hit RB, but if you see him just following it, you can chalk it up. Sometimes if they follow it, they will come down, but usually you can chalk it up and be like, all right, we'll throw it underneath, and I'll take my first down gladly. But let's hop into our next couple plays. I got 3 setups for deep flood, which is in the middle here. And then we got, again, 1 setup out of flood pivot or FL pivot, 1 setup out of mesh spot, and then we can talk about the run some. So, deep flood. What do we like out of deep flood? Now, deep flood is an interesting play. You have a deeper stock corner out. I don't love it. I more like it for X, and I like it for B, and I like it for this tight end route because this tight end route is kind of on a stock flat, and these routes you can't do anymore. You can't put the tight end on a flat route, which just sucks. And this is also one that doesn't stop. Sometimes in the past, you would put them on the flats and they would stop. This one doesn't, so valuable in that sense. But we're not going to run it like this. We're going to drag our B, corner B, and we're going to custom stem him down like so. Found a typo. And I will do this a lot, but that's why I actually follow my own ebook as I go through the video, because I can find any errors that are pre-existing. So here is a look, probably more of a man beater, right, against zone. Is it going to be your greatest bet? No, but some of these routes will get open. I like this play in the red zone, believe it or not, because of just the spacing and the fact that you can pick up 5 yards. And in the red zone, 5 yards is usually close to a first down or a touchdown in any particular case. So now, again, it's going to help to have one of those. I love dropped interceptions. It's going to take a user to probably open one of those routes up, but really you would hit, holy crap, speak. You're going to hit the drag if that's the case. Now, I'm going to run this against the other coverages because this play probably looks a little bit better against a Tampa 2 look. So I cannot stand how it doesn't show me every time, because then I always do it early. So here is cover 2, boom, and we can now hit him over here. You see the fly route is wide open. The drag should be open as well. Just a solid setup. Let's run it against man coverage, because I said it was a man beater, so I probably should be able to beat man coverage. I'm going to try and get just a traditional cover 2 man. Of course, no. Why would I ever be able to audible to a cover 2 man out of anything? There we go. Gosh. Make sure you block the running back too. I didn't put it in there, but holy crap. X, you need football's not for you, buddy. X should be a man-beating route. B, I believe, was open over there. Don't quote me on it. Let's run cover 1 because I don't want to audible around anymore. A is open for some reason, although that wouldn't traditionally be a man coverage route, but whatever. You guys get the point. Solid spacing, decent play, right? Next play, drag R or B and just wheel Y. Very simple kind of stock looking setup. Now, one thing that's super underrated to open up the drags, like those backside posts, is a little actual wheel route on the same side with your running back. So solid looking like spacing setup. You have these little in routes as well. In the out routes, I didn't really look on the right side for whatever reason. I want to see if anything was open over here. I'm sure the flat ended up being open. So, I mean, I could have just hit the flat here. Boom. Take the flat because the out route does a good job of kind of pulling those zones. I was trying to open up X, but I thought this guy would follow him a little bit more. He didn't. Obviously, would have hit my drag or I would have hit my flat. So, just some good kind of routes to bring up the zones. And then if they run man coverage, usually those routes are solid. So let's try and get these open. The wheel could be open against man as well, but I like B to get open here, which he does. I'm sure X was coming open. Maybe not him because it seems like he can only get separation on a drag route. He's getting so open off the jump that like if he's on a streak, it's a touchdown, but then because he cuts in, number 2 actually plays him perfectly. Holy crap, what the hell happened to my drag? Number 7 is on a drag here. What a great game. I don't know why that happened. Whatever. Next setup is streak RB, and we're going to flat Y. Kind of just a simple looking basic flood concept. Holy. So it seems like this play is not great against cover 3 traditionally. That little dig route would always be open, but he's played a lot better this year than he was last year or any other year in Madden against cover 3. This would be a good, just simple, again, man beating routes. B and X is who you're trying to open up. And again, I threw that way too late and I even still caught it, but obviously throw it to your tight end earlier if you see, because the out route's not going to get open against cover 3 or cover 2. It's going to get open against man, but what it does is it should pull up those zones against those other defenses that he runs if he's not running man. But man, if it is man-to-man coverage, B is again open. X again, X traditionally would be open. I think he's just having like an inside leverage press, which is why he's not, but whatever. Let's hop into flood pivot real quick and then mesh spot and sweep. And again, obviously bunch took a lot longer, but the reason that bunch took longer is because it's kind of your main formation in this offense. Flood pivot, decent play. We like the zig. I like the post route with R1. We build around that. What I do is I wheel Y, drag A, and put B on a return. So here's a look. Spacing wise, we love the drag with the tight end because the wheel route pulls him up. The wheel, we're never really going to throw. But what it does is it opens up him and allows us to like run over a cornerback, which we love to do. And then just basic post return. The post should be open right here, which he is, and that's a route we've never had R1 on in the entire offense, so that's a good way to like kind of mix up what we've been doing and always trying to find like different folds to open up and take advantage of. If he starts manning up people, that'll be his demise. So A gets bumped, but we can still throw him. I think B was probably open in that cover 3 setup a lot, although I didn't particularly hit him. Man-to-man coverage, pretty good self-explanatory play. B is going to get open. R1 should get open, and the drag should get open. So we love that. Let's hop into mesh spot, and I'm picking up the pace a little because we've got on bunch for a while here. But you also have bunch trail, which is, again, another play I'm not even going to go over. But Z-spot, bunch trail, just decent plays. They're just not as good this year as maybe they used to be. Mesh spot, what you can do is create kind of a basic mesh post setup by posting B. So if you're familiar with mesh post, it was always a staple out of the West Coast gun bunch. And this is a good way to kind of recreate it. Now, I'll show you guys kind of some of my more popular, and A would be on a flat instead of a wheel, but obviously it doesn't really matter. It basically is running a flat, but good to open up B out of this setup, especially with the user. He's going to definitely jump on one of those drag routes. And this is a good quick snap setup play. This is decent stadium pulse play because you're just coming out, snapping the hell out of the ball. doing one hot route and snapping the hell out of the ball. So hopefully, and again, R1 open here, X probably open. You could put those guys on drags. They're kind of on like deeper crosses for whatever reason. I could just run it like this, 2 drags, and maybe this is a little bit better, but the wheel does a good job of pulling up those zones and all right, opening up those drags. So let's show some of the runs. Now, I don't love the runs out of here. We have a base, we have an inside zone, we have a sweep. Definitely our best bet here. We also have a screen. Don't sleep on the screens. They're kind of good this year. But I like the sweep the best. My favorite run probably out of any bunch, traditional bunch. Now, it's definitely going to be better if he's in heavy pass defense, which he should be. We've shown about like 20 to 30 pass plays. I would hope he's in pass defense, but decent run. Mix it in a couple times a drive if you can. We're obviously trying to pass the ball for running bunch, but you want to mix it in as much as you can because it just adds something to think about, right? He has to worry about the run if you start getting this run. And you can pick up 3, 4, 5 a pop. I'm okay with that. I'll take that. We'll move on. But let's hop into our next formation, which is going to be, and I didn't talk about it at the beginning, it's going to be our tight open. Very solid tight open formation here with some cool kind of unique plays. And then the other formation we'll talk about is the Y-off trips, which I actually made a video on a couple days ago. But let's jump into the tight open. Alrighty, fellas, let's hop into the tight open. Now, what do we like out of the tight open? There's a lot to like. There's 24 plays, which is more than I've ever seen in a tight open. A lot of kind of unique new additions. I don't go over all of them because we focused on the bunch, so there's a little bit less plays in this than maybe if you were only running tight open. I'll probably drop my own like separate video on tight open at some point because there's some cool stuff that we don't go over, but love the tight seams play for those fades. Red zone motion spot is a decent play that we go over. And then we have dig Z spot, which is good. Red zone halfback scissors is a play that I enjoy running stock actually. And then bench return. And then you also have the speed option. So a lot of good stuff. I don't touch on any of these plays, but all these plays are pretty solid as well. And even these ones, mesh spot, always a good play. Screen. So some cool stuff. The audibles I like are dig Z spot, speed option, tight seams, bench return. Of course, if I really wanted to hand the ball off to my running back, I could always audible to something else and just run it. So a lot of times what you'll do is maybe come out in bunch. You can audible to this tight Y seam, or yeah, tight open rather, and do your work. So the first setup that we are going to run is going to be the dig Z spot, which is kind of like a basic flood concept. You'll see it on the left there. Zig, little spot route, little in route, little corner, table route. Pretty solid. So we're going to run this with our halfback on the right side, which is going to be facing the wide side of the football field. Let's move our camera so we don't forget, and let's jump into this. So first setup, very basic streak B, very basic kind of first setup, quick hitting routes, but then you also have those kind of deep routes. So we have Y, we have RB, but then if we get enough time, we can open up some of those deeper routes. This tight end, I would maybe pass lead him down. Could also custom stem him down a little bit because he is a little bit long. Pause. So you can kind of custom stem him down and then actually pass lead that down as well. It was a little bit more open, a little bit more effective. Maybe it's a little bit better against cover 2, though. Again, you still have your zig. I'm okay dumping this down to him. This running back on UCLA is really good. I don't know why he wasn't in bunch, but he is very solid. I like using him a lot. And then you have the in route. Now, again, those in routes, they just get bagged this year. I don't know why they're not as good. The post routes are like so much more effective. So if you wanted to put him on a post, nobody's going to get mad at you for doing this. But even in this case, without any route going underneath like a drag, it's not as open. It's really more to open up your zig is why we kind of have it on the field. But whatever. If it's man coverage, Y should get open, X should get open, and A should get open. So now X gets open. Pretend that 33 isn't there because most people will not run cover 1, as we mentioned before. So that route would be open. The zig, I'm assuming, was open. And then corner out, you could also custom stem the corner out down a little bit if it is man coverage and you're only facing man. It's keep it deep more for zone, but Next setup is going to be speed out B, corner X, Texas RB. Interesting looking setup on paper. Very solid man beaters against zone. We are kind of attacking outside, but then we also have that little Texas route. So basically what we want is the user to sprint out wide and then us be able to hit the Texas. But if not, then we can easily hit those quick outs, those quick zigs, and just take advantage. Corner X, we are going to speed out B, Texas RB. Boom, looks like so. RB was wide open, we threw it late, and really we still almost caught it. So I just kind of missed my read there, that's fine though. Let's say they play Tampa 2. Again, out of the Tampa 2, what you can do, I really like this more against man, but if it is Tampa 2, what you could do is, again, custom sim those guys down. You could do like this, custom sim him down to about here, and then you have your out route open. I thought he would actually bite, he still didn't, so you would just throw the out route there. So if you're struggling with that concept, you could do that, but we honestly don't have to worry about that side because we could just throw it over here on this other side. Corner route, zig, angle route. So just a solid, quick hitting play. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be bench return. Bench return is on the right here. Now, bench return is good because it has that stock return route, and you see this return is even a little bit different on paper than this one, just kind of play art wise. This one is just a little bit cleaner, I think, because it is the actual zig route backwards, whereas the other one is kind of its own separate entity. But all we do out of this is streak X and flat RB. Again, having that flat there, and actually want to post A. I don't know why I forgot to add that, but that is why I don't finalize the ebook before I record. But boom, very good to open up B over here. Little spin move. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty basic, but it works, gets the job done. That's all that matters. Over here, you get your corner out. He's going to get wide open. Spin move. That man has a family. He does have a family, but we don't care. We're trying to pick up yards. So again, this guy, you never would recommend throwing it to him, but he's good for the spacing. Now, if you're facing cover 2, I believe this is where maybe our both our corner route and our post should be a little more open. I guess our post is kind of covered there, so you would still check it underneath, but just a good mix-up route. Looking maybe corner, and maybe the post was open against cover 3. I didn't pay attention all that much. Just kind of hit the first route I saw. He might not be open against cover 1 either because stupid 3 receiver hook's gonna end my life. But boom, he actually was kind of open. Corner out, wide open against man. Return should be wide open. So easy, simple play. Setup number 2: slant X, drag B, post A, flat RB. Here's a look. Very kind of chaotic play, but it really does work. You just got to make the right read. Always can just look underneath if you're struggling. Look at your flat, look at your drag. Your slant would be open late. And then maybe your post is sitting open as well, which kind of is. Possession catch, always recommend possession catching. So overall, just a solid play. Probably your flat is open late too, right? But again, drag B, slant X. I mean, we have him just wide open. And you see the 43 was really covering nobody. The flat was open and the slant was open. So just killer play if you face man-to-man coverage. Then kind of your basic routes. Tight end is open. We're going to hit him. Drag, open, slant, open. Very basic play, but sometimes these basic setups work. Again, it's just about making the right read out of this setup, right? Setup number 3, we're going to wheel RB. Speed out B, drag A, streak X. So we're kind of trying to open up our wheel route here. This doesn't work as good as it used to, but it still still should work. I don't know why. Number 22 is just the greatest player ever. Who is this guy? Send him to the NFL. But if you can hit him there, that's probably where you want to do it, because if you wait another second, 22 is playing like prime Fred Warner over there. Other options, basic, you have your drag and then maybe your corner out late, but really both drag and corner out open. Take your pick. If you want to be safer, take the drag. First down, take that corner out. And I would recommend having the running back on the wide hash for this setup, but not a good man-beating setup, probably, because you're relying on the drag and the corner out heavy, and those could be defended by simple routes. So cover 2, you still can hit him. I would go with an outside pass lead now instead of a inside, but you can throw it, again, a little bit earlier than you maybe would years previous. But let's run it one more time here. And then, of course, I mean, he is wide open. Really, we're trying to hit wheel or drag. Corner out can be open late as an option. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be tight seams. Very good stock play on the right-hand side there. We like it for those seam routes. I'm going to post A, drag X, corner B. We're going to custom stem B all the way down like so. And overall, I mean, this setup is just kind of a kooky setup, but it works. I like this more against man than anything, but can it work against zone? Your guess is as good as mine. Really, X and A should be your decision here. The corner's really going to open up that drag late, which is perfect, to be honest. So again, I could hit my drag, or I could wait an extra second and hit him over the middle of the field. So I would probably try and hit my post. If he uses the post, just take your drag. Now, here's where it's going to be good, is against man-to-man coverage. And if it is man-to-man coverage, we're hoping that B gets the separation that we want. Possession catch, easy money. Drag should be open against man, and then the post should be open as well too. Next setup for this play is flat RB, corner B. We're going to actually return Y, and then we're going to deep cross X. So kind of an interesting looking setup, but it does work. We do like this setup. And Y should be wide open, which he is. So I use those returns a lot. They're very good. Take advantage of them. We have never had those routes ever in Madden or college football. Use them to your advantage. Now, could this get open as a cover 3 beater? Probably not, because this tight end is going to be likely a little bit too slow, which you would be correct. Now, what do you do? Maybe you flip it. Now, could it work if you flip it? Now, obviously the running back is in the wrong spot in this particular setup, but I mean, let's say we just run it without the running back, because we can, or I could just kind of flat him over here. Does this work as a cover 3 beater? Kind of. Now, I would also probably custom send the corner out down, but could it work? It could work. But again, just kind of running the setup as it is intended is like this once again. And you could also kind of roll out and hit this corner out. Now, if you're going to roll out, I would, again, slide. I would double team, set up your rollouts. Don't just kind of do them, because even against a stock rush, you see he almost QB contained me there. So crossers just kind of to open up those other routes on the field. Flat was probably open as well, and then the return usually always open on that play. So let's hop into our fourth different play here, and we're going to go to the red zone. Where are you? Motion spot, which is going to be in the middle here. Now, what do we like out of this play? We have a nice little route. Quick kind of breaking routes with Y and A. And then X is on this kind of stock flat. So usually what I actually like to do is move the ball just a little bit here. Give ourselves actually a little bit more space to this flat side. Now what we're going to do is put B on a choice, X on a choice, and smart out A. Very basic, just zone beating play. X and B should be wide open. Maybe this setup is actually a little bit better from the left hash for this setup, but the other one is definitely going to be better from the other side. Whatever. X and B, solid. And then I forgot to smart out A, but he's not really going to be the one you want to throw it to. You want to kind of open up those choice routes or hitches. I like calling them hitches, but they changed the name because, you know, why not just randomly change the name for no reason? If you really wanted to, you could curl them and custom stem them if you didn't want them to run the choice, but who really cares? X open, B open. Just good quick hitters. Love this type of a setup in the red zone. Could I flat R1 if I wanted to as well? Yes, I could, and I would probably more so do that if I was like over here. Then I could just quickly do bada bing, bada boom. Boom, and I mean, look how much space we get now. So another option, I might actually just add that because I kind of like that a little bit better. I don't know why I didn't have that, but if he's setting pressure, of course, you could just block your running back. But next setup is wheel RB, speed out B, run everything else the same. So this is where we love this kind of flat route over here. Now again, you see how because he's on the short side there, and you kind of have to be in the middle here because of the wheel route. You want the most space for the wheel route, but the flat route's solid over there. He gets more open than he did. Holy crap, we got instant shedded. He gets more open than he did out of the other setups that we ran. I think it was just the other form out of bunch. The wheel route was covered. Now we're running it against cover 3, and he's wide open. So just having that shorter post definitely helps, I think. And then you have your other options. We threw the flat already. The corner out, not really good to open other things up, but if it's man, those corner routes could be open and the post could be open. Now, just run our last setup really quick here, and I don't run this all that often, but it's decent. I feel like you guys would want me to talk about it, and it's going to be red zone scissors. Now, I love red zone scissors actually against cover 4. I believe this play is pretty solid against that coverage. And this has always been the case for whatever reason. If you're ever facing cover 4 and you're running this playbook, just run this play stock because it torches it. Not only do you have your drag wide open, but you have the running back wide open. And we take that to the crib. So overall, I mean, just a solid setup. I like the stock flat with the tight end. You have your other options. Y, you could smart out Y, get him a little bit shorter. Let's say you face pressed cover 4. I don't think this should make a difference. Now Y is bagged. Don't throw it to him. But R1 should be coming across wide open. So just a solid play. And it would be good against like any coverage. It doesn't have to be cover 4. I just love it, particularly against cover 4. But drag is always wide open. Flat usually sitting open. B brings all those zones up. Man coverage, you got the corner route with the wide receiver, the drag, and then the running back route could honestly get open against man coverage too. Here is cover 2. I would hit this guy probably. But again, running back does a good job pulling up the zones. And what you can sometimes do with the running back is kind of hit them in a different window. I could like kind of throw it here and almost hit him there. So just different unique things. Now let's go over some of the runs and some of the cool option plays we have for this. We have the speed option. Let's talk about the jet touch pass. Now I don't think the jet touch passes are nearly as good as they were last year, but they're kind of fun to run still, and they can be good in moderation. I wouldn't spam them, but could it work in moderation? Now, maybe it sucks. I don't know. It was wishful thinking. For whatever reason, the sheds always seem to be breaking outside, so it's just kind of that's why running the ball up the middle is a lot better. So disregard that. I'm actually going to delete that. That play's awful. Maybe it's the coverage I'm in. I don't know. But here's the speed option. This should be a little bit better. Now, 64, you need to learn Chinese, and number 88, you also need to learn Chinese. Oh, this is the wrong play. Whatever, we'll take a sack. Yeah, please learn Chinese, my friends. You guys suck. Now, ideally, you want to get it to your running back. You don't really want to take it with your quarterback. Love this play for short yardage. Good for, again, red zone situations. You always want to have a few plays like that. Don't be stupid like me and actually make the right decision. I was trying to keep it with my QB because why not? But you want to usually toss it as late as possible to pick up your max yards. But maybe this is just a good formation defensively that I'm in to defend the run. But usually it's solid. Then you have your basic inside zone, which I don't have to show. But let's hop into our last and final formation, which is going to be the gun Y off trips. Now, I don't have the most setups for this, but we like kind of our basic stuff. And I did just post a video on this, although it was a different playbook. It was Penn State playbook, so that one is a little bit better of a version of Y off trips than the one we have. But whatever. Audibles, swing screen. I didn't even set my audibles. Never mind. I'm a dummy. But we like PA read Y flat. I like the verticals Y option. PA double post is fine. And this swing screen, I don't know if it's good, but I would probably throw in like a regular inside zone, or we could go like counter or 0-1 trap, I believe would be solid. I think they have that. I would go 0-1 trap, actually. So, start with the bread and butter. What is the bread and butter? We know what the bread and butter is. You're not fooling anybody. RPO, read Y flat. One of the better, just bot easy plays in the game. Even when it doesn't work, it really still works. And again, the more space you have, the better it's going to work. Get off me, little boy. But super easy. Take advantage of it. Throw it as late as possible usually. Even if the receiver misses block, which a lot of times he will, you'll take the yardage. Now, also you can run it as a read option, so I can keep it with my QB and just take off. Nice block, number 2 or number 7, but if you have a fast QB, don't sleep on that because it honestly can work well. And this guy always plays like an idiot, number 22. I don't know why he never pursues the ball. Maybe if they click on and rush, you get hit, but you see you can actually wait to the point of him like tackling the running back, which is funny. But, I mean, just solid. You guys know this play is good. I don't need to run it too many times, but here's the read option again, working well. Obviously, if that guy holds his block, we get 15 and slide, and we live to fight another day. So, solid play. Guess I'll just talk about the 0-1 trap while I'm here. Now, be careful when you run the 0-1 trap, or when you come out in the read Y flat and then audible, because you notice how the receivers shift. That's an easy tell that you're no longer running that play. But I love 0-1 traps this year. I love the duo plays, all those stuff, off tackles usually, and they're just good. And you can see they're a lot better than like running any stupid jet touch pass. Just run it up the middle, let these blocks develop, and we're picking up 20 at will. So I love those. Let's go into our passes. We got PA double post, verticals Y option. Let's run the PA double post here. Gosh, my nose is itching. So this play is good for R1 and B, kind of as backside options. And what I like to do is drag RB and just put B on a little out route. This is actually a good setup to open up our tight end, believe it or not. Now, boom, right here. I love drop passes. Not. But you can keep the play action. You don't have to use the play action. Now, it's so crazy how the same exact setup and the same play can be so different on 2 different occurrences. It's kind of idiotic, but we love hitting him here. Probably the out route is wide open, just kind of looking at it, but cover 2. Now, be careful because for whatever reason, everyone is shaded over. Like if you block the running back, everybody is shaded over right, so your stupid running back always ends up taking that guy. I really dislike that. So I'll usually just honestly half slide over to the left. Like, I want you guys to block normal. Now, I forgot to be on his out route, but even against cover 2, that little wheel route should get open. I don't know why I struggled to speak there. But not a good man beating setup, but against cover 2, cover 3, it should be pretty good. Nico sails it, but that's because our blocking was stupid on that play. That's the only downside of this play is like you kind of have to like either just, I usually will just either reset or like half slide because your freaking blockers will be absolute idiots if you don't. Now we have like normal protection, but whatever. Next setup is to streak A, drag B, come back X. Interesting little cover 3 beating setup. Am I even in cover 3? Yes, I am. I don't know why I was confused. Now, pending you get enough time, this route should be open. It doesn't usually work as a cover 3 beating touchdown, but it beats cover 3 well. Here it is with play action. That's why. Now, I think I actually might have ran it wrong. I actually posted the wrong person. So make sure you have RB on the post, not B. So here's a little comeback X, streak A, drag B, play action U. And then boom, we get a little more space there. Maybe we can rat catch it, but never really going to be a touchdown, but just a good way to open up that post. Next setup, drag a zig RB, solid quick snap, basic setup. Really trying to open up B with the setup. I don't know why 22 always plays it so well, but maybe you just want to drag both people. I don't know. I don't know why he plays that so well. It's freaking dumb. Maybe. So if those players are just sitting up like idiots, throw the drag 20 times. That's what I've learned in this game because it's so hard to like freaking open up deep players. Like maybe if I highball it in immediately or bullet pass it immediately, then he's open, but it's dumb that it's like so difficult to freaking open up those guys. It like really pisses me off because that's not how like the actual sport works. Like it's not how people play in real life. But feel free to check it down 20 times. Eat up the clock and you're gonna win anyway. So last setup, choice RB, and this should be a lot better to open up the post, believe it or not. We're gonna flat Y, drag a comeback X. And it's just a basic setup, but we're really trying to open up B here. This flat does a lot better to open that up. You can actually throw it to him, and the choice route really is open as well. So here it is, flat, probably coming across. And you see, honestly, it may be better to wait on it and throw it a little bit later once that number 22 guy actually fully commits. Let's run cover 2. I would take him. Obviously, our post isn't open. Choice route probably would maybe be open a little later, but solid setup there. And let's go into our last play, which is verticals Y option. Now, verticals Y option is solid. You have kind of a stock table route, some stock streaks. It's not the greatest play on paper, but it works decent. We can create some cool stuff with it, and I like doing some post stuff with it. So we're going to post A, drag X, corner RB, stock. Just a decent looking play on paper, right? Love this play on paper. And this corner out gets a lot more open because we have a streak that is actually on the far hash instead of in the slot. So against like cover 3, it gets a lot more open than it usually does against out of your bunch and out of your tight open. So, of course, hit your drag. He's open. Corner out is open. Flat probably is open too. As far as the post being open, I don't know. Let's try it against cover 2. Not really open. So again, I would just hit my corner. He's wide open, or I would hit my drag. So probably not a great play against man, but honestly, it could work. Drag, post, corner. I just kind of worry about the corner. And if you want, if you're facing man, again, you could just probably do this. I don't know how this is going to play with B because he's probably going to get bumped, but I guess you could have kind of hit it. It's just a little bit weird with that clear out on that side. That's where the clear out in the slot helps because he's not in the way. And if I wanted to, obviously I could like motion B over, just get him the hell out of the way, but it's fine. Next setup, post A. We're going to post B, choice RB. We're going to motion him in, and we're going to actually choice him. So it looks like this. Interesting spacing, but this setup does work pretty well. Inaccurate pass, and he just died. Hospital pass. But both those choices should have been sitting like wide open. This route gets open well, which is why I love motioning that guy in and choicing him, because it opens up our post route phenomenally. Specifically from the tight end, the backside post could be open as well, but that one's a little bit kind of more inconsistent. Wouldn't really run it much against man, but let's try it again against cover 3. Maybe pressing cover 3 is a little bit different. I don't know. Holy crap, that guy played like an idiot. But the post would be open against press cover 3 or normal cover 3 too. So solid setup there. Last setup, deep cross A. We're going to post B, choice RB, fade X. Kind of basic concept, very similar look. B should be open on break. Make sure you practice probably throwing those backside posts, because even I've probably thrown a few interceptions in this video, which definitely don't want to do. But RB is good open. B, when I mean throw on break, you have to throw it there. If I wait a second, 43 jumps it. If I wait another second, 22 jumps it. Like 22 jump street. Against man, I would avoid again, deep cross for this one. Maybe it's a little better, but more zone. And boom, he should get open. So just a decent play, but that's going to wrap up the video. If you guys enjoyed, please hit that like, subscribe to the channel down below. Let me know what ebook you want to see next. And peace. I'm out of here.